Now in big news at 8 o'clock. Action 98, good morning. I'm Karen McCarthy. Iraq has denounced US airstrikes against targets on its soil, saying it's a violation of its sovereignty. The US says it hit 85 targets yesterday in Syria and Iraq, linked to Iranian-backed militias, blamed for the fatal drone attack that killed 3 US soldiers in Jordan. Iraq says the attacks killed 16 people, some of them civilians. Ashia Uzadi of BBC Arabic reports from Baghdad.
A strong statement issued by the Iraq government earlier today describing the U.S. airstrikes as an aggression against Iraq and also a serious violation of Iraq's sovereignty. And it was also referring to this airstrike as destabilizing the security and stability of the region and also of Iraq itself. The Iraqi government said that now the international coalition, the president in Iraq, now dedicated to its main task.
An international relations expert says New Zealand should have only offered to support an international security effort in the Red Sea if the United States supported a ceasefire in Gaza. New Zealand announced last month it will send 6 defence personnel to the Red Sea in response to Houthi attacks on ships. Otago University Professor Robert Patman says it should have been conditional on a ceasefire.
They should call on the Biden administration to stop opposing a ceasefire in Gaza with a million people facing starvation and come out in support of a permanent ceasefire there.
Power crews are working to restore electricity to over 800 properties in the Bay of Plenty, Manawatu, Whanganui and Wairarapa regions. It follows strong winds and stormy weather yesterday. A lightning strike last night has left about 200 homes without power in Masterton. New Energy Minister Simeon Brown has been told repealing the ban on oil and gas exploration may not succeed in extending the future of oil and gas in New Zealand. A briefing from the Ministry for Business, Innovation and Employment tells them there are other impediments that might still impede investor interest in the sector. The briefing says supplying gas is becoming increasingly uneconomic and household use is likely to fall. It urges the Minister to come up with a clear plan to secure energy supply and cut New Zealand's emissions. The Cancer Society says it's great to see the new government invest in cancer drugs, but it also needs to ensure the drug buying agency acts more quickly to save lives. Cancer Society Chief Executive Rachel Hart says National's promise to pay for 13 cancer treatments should make a difference, but Pharmac's processes also need to be overhauled. She says on average, Pharmac takes 860 days to assess a cancer case, which is a year longer than Australia. Rachel Hart says New Zealand needs a fix to the system as well as investment. Around 25,000 people are diagnosed with cancer every year. The second day of commemorations this Waitangi is underway. It'll be marked by a rare visit to the treaty grounds by tourists like Hectia, who will be welcomed onto the ferry Rangitaiki this afternoon. Pukiri's Highway reports from Waitangi.
Tourists to Haiti is expected to arrive at Waitangi with a large opo, or group, mirroring the large delegation Northern Iwi Ngāpuhi sent to the Hui Amotu in Ngā Ruawahi. The King brings with him the Māori of that Hui. Discussions are expected to continue at Waitangi, with a particular focus on the Declaration of Independence and Te Tiriti o Waitangi. The Party Māori MPs will be welcomed alongside the King as they were at Gātana. They did not arrive with the other opposition parties, Labour and the Greens, yesterday.
Mass demonstrations against the far-right AfD party are taking place across Germany for the 3rd week in a row. The biggest protest is in Berlin, where more than 100,000 people are registered to take part. The BBC's Damien McGuinness is there.
They're being held by all sorts of groups, from environmentalists, trade unions, political parties, even a group called Grannies Against the Far Right. What they all have in common is they're protesting against right-wing extremism after a call for a secret meeting in November attended by the far-right party, the AfD, which aims to discuss to deport anyone with non-German heritage outside of Germany. It would affect millions of people. A very radical plan which is not going to happen, but it shocks the whole nation.
A human rights group says police in central Moscow have detained dozens of people at a rally protesting against Russia's mobilization of men to fight in Ukraine. OVD Info, which reports on freedom of assembly in Russia, says at least 27 people were detained as a group representing the wives of mobilized soldiers gathered at the Kremlin wall to lay flowers at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Attendance included 20 journalists. Firefighters are dampening down hotspots at the scene of a house fire north of Whangarei this morning. Fire and Emergency says 3 fire trucks worked to extinguish the blaze, which broke out at a 2-storey house in Hikurangi about 5:30. Fire crews also extinguished a large blaze at a scrapyard in Otahuhu in Auckland, which was reported at about 10 o'clock last night. That's the news. Now with sport, good morning, Penny Miles.
The Black Caps are eyeing a historic six-game win against South Africa, starting in the first test in Tauranga today. Half of the Proteas' experienced squad are yet to play a test, including their captain and left-handed batsman Neil Brown. With their leading talent playing top-quality cricket at home, he says it's an opportunity for the trained players to prove they have a future at this level.
I'm pretty sure the guys will still be in the time in a few months' time. There's some good, exciting talent. Guys like Dan Billingham, who's maybe playing beautifully. And then a few other guys, you know, will be coming through, and I'm sure the public back over, so it will be a pleasure to be surprised by it.
Day one of the first test starts at 11 o'clock. Wales came storming back in Cardiff this morning in their Six Nations rugby opener to within 1 point of Scotland. The dominant Welsh second-half performance wasn't enough, with Scotland prevailing 27-26 for the first win at Cardiff in 22 years. And England overcame Italy 27-24 in Rome this morning. England captain Jeremy Jones said they were tested to the limit after Italy led 17-14 at half-time.
We probably had a few growing pains out there. I was really pleased with the character that we showed in terms of a couple of thunderbolts, a couple of runaway tries, and a lot of new faces in the squad. Obviously, first time playing together, and the way that we rallied round, understood the message and got after it. I think the blueprint that we played in the second half showed a lot more about what we're about.
And in a historic Super Rugby pre-season clash played in Ireland this morning, a short time ago, Munster beat the Crusaders 21-19 in Cork. Meanwhile, the Blues eased to a 43-7 win over Japan's Suntory Sons Goliath in Tokyo yesterday. The Auckland side ran in 7 sides to ensure a winning start for their new coach, Vern Cropper. And in Premier League football this morning, Everton scored an injury time to snatch a late 2-2 draw with Spurs. Newcastle fought back to draw 4-4 with Luton, and Brighton ended a run of misses with a 4-1 win over Crystal Palace. Corey Ngāpuronga, Hakinakina.
Coming up on Media Watch, just as Parliament kicked off this week, a Green leader declared himself Domburger. Surprised? Well, the press pack didn't seem to be. One of them in particular. We look at that, and whether bad economic news is a better news story for the media than good. And being a local media baron, it's cracked up to be. That's Media Watch after the news at 9, and again after the 10 p.m. news tonight on RNZ National.